Welcome back to Patrick Christie's Tonight. Now, Americans will head to the polls in just a matter of hours as the final day of campaigning wraps up this evening. Both candidates pulled out all the stops in a last-ditch attempt to win some voters. Kamala Harris spent a day in Pennsylvania, the battleground state, which is expected to determine the outcome of the election. Meanwhile, Trump is holding rallies in North Carolina, Pennsylvania and Michigan today. Now, this happened just an hour or so ago.
You have a man from Europe. I don't know if he's here. I saw him backstage. What he did was, and what he is doing is sort of what we did a few years ago. He's doing a great job. He's he's always been my friend for some reason. He liked me. I liked him. And he's shaking it up pretty good over there. He was the big winner of the last election in the UK. And he's a very spectacular man, very highly respected, Nigel Farage. He's a little bit of a rebel, but that's good. You know, that's good. Don't change, Nigel.
Well, that man there is my next guest, the Reform UK leader and MP for Clacton, Nigel Farage. Nigel, congratulations, another shout out, there you go. So where are you now? What's the mood like on the ground?
I'm now in the Peanut Bar in downtown Reading in Pennsylvania. Look, you know, looking at the numbers, looking at the early voting, I still think there's absolutely every reason to believe that Trump's going to win this. I'm not saying it'll be by a big margin, but I do believe that he is going to win this. There's a lot more energy in the Trump campaign than there is in the Harris campaign. Of that, I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever. And just think about this. You know, Trump is 78. That rally we were just at was the second of 4 that he's doing today. I mean, it's just incredible the amount of work and energy the Republicans are putting into this. No, I firmly believe he's going to win.
You have said, I believe, Nigel, that if he doesn't, he shouldn't blame the polls, he shouldn't cause any kind of ruckus, because there is maybe a little bit of a fear about that.
Well, look, I think the front page of a Telegraph tomorrow is somewhat ridiculous, frankly. I mean, I like the newspaper, but I said if he loses decisively, yes, he can go to Turnberry and play golf. But I did say it's hypothetical because I believe he is going to win.
And presumably you think that would be the best thing for Britain, because Kamala Harris and the Democrats, etc., could be worse in terms of them looking maybe more to the EU.
Oh. Look, the Democrats don't give a damn about Britain. They consider us to be an irrelevancy. They'd much rather look towards Brussels with everything, or indeed, at times, some of the more extreme shades of Irish nationalism. Trump is a genuine friend of our country. He wants to do a trade deal. He'd always wanted to do a trade deal with the linchpins of NATO. We share intelligence at a very high level. And it is, if Trump does win, as I believe, it's very important. This Labour government has as good a relationship with Trump as they possibly can.
The last election, I believe you put a bet on, Nigel. Have you put any money on this one?
I haven't actually. I should have done. I really should. In fact, Patrick, you just reminded me. I might go and put a substantial bet on Trump right now.
You might right now. OK, all right. Go on. Are we allowed to know the figure, Nigel? You're just plucking this out of thin air, are you? But are we allowed to know the figure?
Well, after a long day, let me have a drink and think about it.
Drink and think about it. All right, yeah, OK. Look, Nigel, just what I've got you. So Trump is pretty confident, obviously.
Yeah.
What's at stake here, right? Because a lot of people look to America as, well, really the leader of the free world, in a sense. And it's a very, very chaotic world. We've got what's going on with Ukraine. We've got the potential for China saber-rattling, the Middle East issues as well. So what is at stake here?
Well, you're right. I mean, you know, America's voting for the leader of the free world. We're at a time, we've never been closer to war in the entirety of my life. With what is happening in the Middle East, what is happening in Ukraine, what may happen, and is likely to happen in Taiwan. So America needs a strong leader. We need, frankly, a strong leader of NATO. We need somebody who is inclined towards peace, not war. It was Trump's administration that signed the Abraham Accords, that got Arab countries and Israel together. It was Biden who removed the last troops from Afghanistan that led to the Taliban coming back, that led to Putin invading Ukraine. China now sees a very weak American leader. We all need a strong American leader. Yeah, carry a big stick, by all means, but have in your mind you'd rather have peace than war. And that's what Trump represents, and goodness me, that very badly.
OK, just one last one with you, Nigel. You might have seen this, OK? There's a group that I'm sure you hold dear to your heart called Led by Donkeys. Now, they have got a billboard in your constituency at the moment that says the amount of money that you have allegedly made from second jobs, etc. They've just asked an hour ago, they said, hard at work for the people of Clacton again, Nigel. What would you say to them? Because they do seem quite obsessed with you.
Look, they're an extreme left-wing group. They will fight me all the way. I'll be condemned and criticised for whatever I do. I have to say, I had a very busy day campaigning in Clacton on Saturday, and everywhere I went, the reception was very, very positive. We're doing our best, with me as MP and my support group, to help pensioners get onto pension credit so they can get their winter fuel allowance. And you know what? Unlike all the other MPs, I work 7 days a week, often hours you wouldn't even dream of. I have no conscience about this at all. I know what I'm doing.
Nigel, thank you very, very much. And, you know, just to testify that, he's made time for this show this evening. So there we go. Nigel Farage there from the Peanut Bar in America. Good luck. Take care. That's Nigel Farage. He's Reform UK leader and MP for Clacton. Thank you for your time this evening.
It's one day to go until the United States electorate chooses its next president. And our very own Tim Stanley has made an excellent case for Donald Trump in today's Telegraph. And he's now with me as part of my panel, along with author and broadcaster Amy Nicole Turner. Well, Tim, let me hand over to you. What is the case for Trump, the reasonable, moderate case for Trump?
Let's defend the indefensible. Well, look, if he does win, it's because he's polling slightly better than he did in 2016. So how can it be that 8 years after January the 6th and all the court cases, this man might still be capable of re-winning the presidency? Well, it's partly because people do have experience of him in office. They know that when he was president, there was no war, that wages rose in advance of inflation, and that unemployment and poverty rates, particularly for ethnic minorities, hit historic lows. And if a significant number of men of colour vote for him, that's probably why. Now, you'll counter to that and say, but come on, Hitler built the Autobahn and Mussolini made the trains run on time. You can be good at running an economy and still be profoundly immoral. But what I'd argue is that for every supposedly extreme position Trump takes, I can find something in his record which counters that. So he's a religious bigot. Well, this is a religious bigot who appointed openly gay ambassadors and appointed someone to campaign for the decriminalisation of homosexuality, who handed out HIV prevention drugs. You might say that Donald Trump is some sort of authoritarian, OK, but this is the first president in history to have audited the Pentagon. And likewise, for everything extreme that he did, I can usually find a democratic equivalent. And it's striking how many policies Donald Trump follows that the Democrats have then copied. So the classic one is the borders. He is famous for being tough on the borders. Joe Biden took over and initially went soft on the borders. Then there was a large movement of people, so he reversed that policy. And Joe Biden deported during his time in office over 2 million people. He placed tariffs on China. He withdrew troops from Afghanistan. Even if Trump loses tomorrow, Trumpism seems to have been endorsed by the American people.
Amy, so he's basically just misunderstood. He's a decent chap doing good
I'm not saying that.
And he's misunderstood by the liberal media.
So when I read Tim's piece, I did feel vaguely reassured for about 5 seconds, and I actually considered what it was like when he was in office for some of the sections of society that you mentioned. So the ones that struck me the most was migrant rights, and I had images of the horrendous deportation centres when children were separated from their families at the border. That was very much Trump, with the cages, with the children. Then I considered women, the reversal of Roe versus Wade, and I thought I can't, as a having a womb.
But that merely reverted it to the states. It said it's,
yes.
And that's quite clear.
Endangering millions of women.
No. Not the judgment of Roe v. Wade has not made abortion illegal in the United States.
I understand that,
it's merely
but
enforced.
It has changed abortion laws.
The 10th article of the Bill of Rights,
for example,
which is
in the
any
state
matter.
of Idaho now, you cannot have access to an abortion, and women are dying. Women are dying because they cannot move state quick enough to access that health care. So just on that basis alone,
have the baby.
Also, whenever there has been a public
Jacob, I want to
vote
pick you
on
up on that
abortion,
because
people have voted actually to liberalise the laws, and there are some states which have extreme laws the other way, which
and there
allow
are
it
other
up to
states.
birth.
I think it was 7 different states that laws reversed after.
Right. Either way, I want to throw in, because it's important to note that Donald Trump is opposed to a nationwide abortion ban. So Donald Trump's position is not that of what Idaho has done.
He hasn't been completely straight with that. We're not completely sure where he would go with that. And he has gone on record and says things that are very concerning, such as women who have abortions should be punished. That is deeply concerning to anyone who cares about reproductive rights.
Well, in this country, a woman who procures abortion through the post is punished for it. She faces criminal sanction for it.
Jacob,
It's not an unusual
you said the woman could just have the baby.
Yes.
There have been cases in America of women carrying ectopic pregnancies. The risk to their lives is huge.
Yeah.
They will probably die as a result of trying to carry that baby because of laws such as what we see in Idaho.
Right. But you see, this is the thing. We're getting sucked into one issue
Let me go on another
which Europeans look at and they're just horrified. What they don't necessarily appreciate is that America, under him, moved towards a patchwork of abortion laws, which is exactly what they have in Europe.
Shall we go on one that will affect us and our special relationship? What about the tariffs that he plans to impose, the economic protectionism?
You spoke tariffs before and you didn't impose any on us.
And that will impact our economy.
Not necessarily. It may affect Europe, but we're out of the EU now.
We are,
and we can have
famously.
our own trade deal with the US, which he wanted.